Good morning, guys. Check out all those fish. Welcome back to the morning ramble. We're going to do things a little bit differently here this morning. After I feed my spoiled rotten fish, Dearly, who's recording this right now, and I are going to go over to the garden and work on putting some more of our fall crops in the ground. Our little monkey boy Daniel is asleep. It's 7:53. It's not super early, but when it comes to sleep, our son is like a 7-year-old teenager. He loves to sleep in late. So Dearly and I are going to work on the fall crop some this morning, and it's Dearly's turn to ramble. I've been reading the comments. I love them. Thanks for all the support, guys, especially when I've mentioned about perhaps not doing these anymore. You guys have been very supportive, so we're going to keep them coming. But a lot of folks had said Dearly and I should do a ramble together, or we should ask Dearly a lot of questions. So that's what's going to happen today. The fish have been fed, so let's go to the garden. What you got there, honey?
I have lettuce and onion. Evergreen bunching. Yep.
So,
Good morning, guys.
What are you going to plant where?
I'm gonna plant onion here beside with what you call this?
Bell peppers?
Bell pepper.
And what are you going to put over here?
I'm gonna put the lettuce there.
Okay. All right, and I'm going to sit right here because I'm not trying to get out of work here, guys, but
You're the one who did this.
Yeah, I did that with the hoe, so we're still doing the teamwork thing, but for now, we're not watching me, we're watching her, and we're going to have a little Q&A interview here because our subscribers have been saying they want to hear kind of like some Q&A with Dearly. So here's a question a lot of people have asked in the comment section. How did we meet? Do you remember, honey?
Yeah, of course, I remember. We met in where I work. I work at my uncle's business in like a restaurant. And then I have a regular customer there. His name is Ray. And then Ray, he met Kevin in Manila, like the capital city in the Philippines. So Ray invited him in Manila, in Davao, where I live, to go in Davao because Ray, he has a friend. He was talking about me. So he said, I'm gonna introduce you my friend named Dearly. So Ray visited me where I work, and then here he is with Kevin. So then I met Kevin, and so I met Kevin there where I work.
Did you like me when you met me?
No.
Why not? I'm so likable.
Because you talk too much.
What?
Yep.
You mean like I just rambled on and on and on?
Yeah, he just blah 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 blah, and then I'm like working, and then I said, okay, nice to meet you, bye. Did
you find yourself saying to yourself, what's the point here? You could have said, what took you 18 minutes and 3 minutes? OMG, that's 18 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Okay, now let's see how good your memory is here. Do you remember how many times I had to ask you out before you finally said yes?
Oh, God. I think as far as I can remember, I think 4.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's as far as I can remember.
Yeah, I thought it was 4. Higher than that, but I guess... okay, so 4 times.
But he's like super persistent. Gosh, I'm busy, I'm working, I'm studying. Oh, he's so busy.
Do you remember where we went on our first date?
Oh. In the beach?
Yeah, but where? Which one?
In Samal.
Samal Island.
Oh yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For you. It was fun for me too. You remember what happened to me there?
He got food poison. That's how you say it?
Yeah, food poisoning.
Yep, food poisoning.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I hadn't been there long and my stomach hadn't adjusted to the local cuisine. And
because we ate those raw fish, the tuna fish.
Well, it wasn't raw, it was spoiled. And the woman who cooked it knew it was spoiled, so she just loaded it down with extra sauce so we wouldn't be able to smell it. You remember? I ran into her at the hospital. Ironically, 3 days later, after I'd lost 16 pounds, was urinating almost purely brown urine, and so I went to the hospital. I saw that woman from the resort And I told her while I was there, I said, you almost killed me. I got food poisoning. And she laughed and admitted that she knew the fish was spoiled. That's why she put so much sauce on it so I wouldn't smell it. And I was like, why did you do that? And she said, it's all we had left. And you ordered fish, so you remember that, honey?
Yeah, I remember that.
That's probably not the best story for me to be telling out here, huh?
Yeah.
But, oh well, that's the truth of how it happened, so.
Yep.
All
I
right.
think you got sick for 1 week.
Yeah, I was sick for a week.
Yeah.
And I had food poisoning a couple times over there, but I eventually got my iron belly and could eat pretty much anything I wanted to
Yep.
the rest of the time I was there.
Yeah.
Okay, honey, so I'm going to ask you this question. This is kind of a loaded question, well, for the subscribers, because I talk about this in the rambles. And guys, Dearly doesn't always watch my rambles because she has the misfortune of having to listen to them all day long here in person.
Him and Daniel.
Does Daniel ramble a lot too?
Oh, yeah.
Who's he more like, me or you?
You.
What is the most important aspect of culture in the Philippines?
Family.
Yep. Let's see. Need to be sensitive here because we don't want to. You know, guys, a lot of times when we point out differences between cultures, people will get offended because they think stating something that's different is bad. You're judging one over the other. Well, it's not. Difference just means different, and you can take it how you want it. But like yesterday, we were making the video of us out here in the garden, and I was like, hey, get a shot of me and Daniel rowing these hoes over here. And she's like, why? That's boring. It's just you guys rowing hoes. And guys, Dearly's been here for like more than 2 years now, and I still don't think she grasped this yet about the major difference in regards to the importance of family between her culture and our culture here in the U.S. And I told her, honey, this is what is so special. It's not the seeds in the grounds. It's not the bell peppers like we harvested one here from yesterday. This is not as big of a deal as it is us doing it together, just kind of showing what we do, how we live, because sadly, and again, I love America. I love my culture. I love my country.
I love America.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Iraq. Enough said. I don't need to justify anything, but it just breaks my heart that, that's the thing I personally love most about Filipino culture, and when I was there, is that, like Dearly said, family is what matters the most. It always has. I have reason to believe it probably always will. So anyway, this is Dearly's ramble, not mine. So are you done with your, what did you put there?
Onion.
Onion, okay.
Evergreen bunching.
Is there a word in Visayan or Tagalog for onion other than onion?
Yes, sili dahon.
Sili dahon?
Yeah. Dahon sili.
Dahon sili? Is
Yeah.
that Tagalog or Visayan?
Bisaya, my native language where I came from.
Yeah, down in Mindanao. How many languages are there in the Philippines?
Oh my God, I think, as far as I know, I think we have 156.
156 different languages?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I think we have more.
Think you have more?
Yep, we have really a
So,
lot of language.
you just said you love America. What are some of your favorite parts of America? What are the things here you really like? People? How so?
Because they're very approachable. Yeah, in the Philippines, we don't do that. Like, even though you don't know the people, you don't say hello, hi. But here, wherever you go, people just so nice. They just say hi. You say hello. I think when I'm gonna go to the Philippines next year for vacation, I'm gonna greet everybody I see. Hi, hello, how are you?
Yeah.
That's the number one thing I like.
Yeah.
And you're only allowed to ask me 10 questions.
Okay.
That's
so
number 3. So
that's
you
number
have
3.
7 more questions.
Okay. What are some foods you've had here in the U.S.? Or like, is there any sort of American food or Western food that you've eaten here that you never had in the Philippines that you like or don't like?
Oh, that's kind of hard question because we've been going to Western restaurant in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So what is?
Are there any restaurants over here we've eaten at that you enjoy? Oh, I know one.
What?
Come on. Where's your... Okay, guys, here's a preface here. Yes, we try to eat as healthy as we can, as often as we can, but every now and then, okay, I've said this in other videos, my wife's happiness and my son's happiness is my happiness. So every now and then there's a couple places we go because Dearly has a craving. You know what I'm talking about, huh?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Five Guys in burger.
Five Guys Burgers and Fries.
Yep. Oh, I love their burger.
Yeah, do they make the best burgers in the world?
Yeah, my favorite burger in the world is in Five Guys.
You like their fries too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I'm not big on eating out at all. As I said in these other videos, Dearly cook, and you've seen her cooking videos. She's such a good cook. Why would I spend good money to eat
he don't like eating
food that's not?
outside.
I just don't like it. But I do enjoy Five Guys. I think I went 8 months. I had one of their burgers last week. We kind of celebrated me no longer working at the post office by going to Five Guys after I was gone from there for about 3 days. And I had my first burger from there in like 8 months or so. Okay, honey, so let's see. Another question. That was 4. Here's number 5. Where are some places you've been, like maybe trips we've taken here since we've been in the U.S. that you've really enjoyed or that sticks out in your head?
Oh, in North Carolina.
Yeah, where in North Carolina? Do you remember?
Yeah, Nag's Head.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we were through there. Yeah, we went to the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
So we went all the way down through. I think we didn't go quite to Ocracoke Island, but I forget exactly where we stayed. Avon? No, it wasn't that far down. So what did you like? How would you compare and contrast? That was your first time on the Atlantic Ocean and on a beach in the U.S.
Yeah.
What are some differences?
And then I'm upset
Why were you upset?
because I want to swim, but the water is too cold.
Yeah, the Atlantic is approximately 3 degrees cooler Fahrenheit than the Pacific. It's a colder ocean because it's further north. It's more affected by the polar ice caps. There's some needless information for you. So, let's see. Is there anywhere else you visited? How about here in Virginia?
Oh, a lot here. Oh, I've been to Richmond. I've been to Williams. Is that Williamsburg in Virginia?
Yeah, Williamsburg,
Yeah.
Colonial
Yeah.
Williamsburg.
Yeah, there.
Did you like it there?
Oh, I love it. You know that ghost.
Yeah, the ghost tour?
Ghost tour. Oh,
Yeah.
so much history in Virginia. I love it. The buildings too.
Uh-huh.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we had a subscriber commenting yesterday that she lives in Williamsburg. And I commented back that we went there a couple of years ago and we took that ghost
now I'm
tour.
gonna plant the lettuce.
Lettuce? Is there a Visayan word for lettuce?
No. I still have onion. Should I plant here?
Whatever you want to do, you can, and we can plant the lettuce elsewhere.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish this.
Yeah, we have enough space.
Yep.
So it's whatever you want to do. All right, let me think of some more questions.
Ask me more, honey.
I'm trying. Can you think of any more? I mean, if you were interviewing yourself, what might you ask yourself? And that counts as a question. I mean,
My favorite color, green.
okay. What are some fears you might have had about coming 9,000 miles away from where you grew up?
Flying high.
Flying?
Oh my God. I'm so glad, honey, you go to the Philippines to pick up me and Daniel.
Well, yeah, me too.
I'm like praying the whole time from the Philippines to China. We're in China and then I'm like, oh, thank God. Like praying. And then from China, when I found out that we're gonna fly in there for 11 to 12 hours, I'm like, whoo. I'm like, the whole time, I'm just like holding Kevin's arms because I'm super scared. And then when we got in the US, like I see the land in Washington DC, I'm like, oh my God, this is a dream come true. So you know what I did?
What?
When I get up in the plane? I waited the pilot. There were
Yeah.
like 3 pilots. I waited until they get out in the plane, and then I want to say thank you. So when I see them, I'm like super like overwhelmed. I feel like I'm floating in the air. That's how happy I am. So when I saw them, like, thank you so much for a really nice ride, because it's really nice and smooth ride. The ride is amazing. I had fun, even though it's 11 to 12 hours.
Yeah, it might have been 14, I think.
If you include China.
Well, all total trip is 24 hours with going from Manila to. Of course, it was longer for us because we missed our plane in China and had to get on the next one, and that took like 8 hours.
It's a really.
But I'm talking about, like, did you have any fears about what life might be like once you got here?
Oh no.
You didn't worry about it?
No.
Yeah.
Because you're here.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm alone.
Yeah.
And then I don't have you here. I think I'm gonna have fear, but no, I didn't feel any scared or worried. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of a good question, honey.
Well, it is, and I want to point out here to our viewers that that's kind of a big part of your culture too, and one of the major differences. You know, family's number one there, like it used to be here, and like it still is with a lot of people, and like it is with, I think, a lot of people who watch our videos. That's why they're here, and I know this because you guys watching have told us this. I mean, we couldn't figure out why we were getting so many subscribers so quickly, and I was like, what's going on here? I hardly know how to plant corn. And so I started asking, and you guys started basically letting us know you like seeing the family stuff. So we know that for those here in the U.S., and there's a large number of these people for whom family is still the most important aspect of their lives, they're here watching. The majority of the people, like almost all of them in the Philippines, that's number one. But something else one of the differences I enjoyed is that in the Philippines, they don't sweat the small stuff, literally. I mean, guys, it really is, you know, Dearly and I were at the Sprint store a couple of weeks ago. We were trying to get cell phones, but we just couldn't get service out here. So they had a poster, and it showed like a teenager, and the sign said, sadly, 7 out of 10 teenagers in American inner city public schools or something don't have internet. Please donate to this fund to help get these young people internet so they do better on their homework and blah, blah, blah. And I pointed that sign out to Dearly, and I said, that's a nice first world problem to have, isn't it? And the guy that worked at the store, he looked over, he read it, and he looked at me with this questioning look on his face, and I just looked at him. I said, you know, where she came from and where I lived for 6 years, 7 out of 10 kids of all ages everywhere don't have food. They don't know where the next meal's coming from. You know, and here it's like, you know, and I'm not minimizing the issue of being in an advanced country, an advanced civilization. Well, what that might not be the word, advanced. I'm trying to, what would be the word, honey? I guess, yeah, technologically advanced. I mean, I'm not minimizing the problem of our youth maybe not having all the tools they need to succeed. I totally support that. But when you come from a place where my wife came from and where I lived for many years and saw, it really puts into perspective, you know, yeah, it's a problem that a lot of these kids don't have internet for their homework, but which problem would you rather have? No internet or no food? But despite this, I noticed with my own eyes while I was in the Philippines, they didn't sweat the small stuff. They didn't worry about all these fears, all these things that are never going to come to fruition, because they felt so blessed to have that next meal, and they felt so blessed to have that next meal with their family. And when they had that meal with their family, they weren't glued to these cell phones. They were glued to each other and their company. And gosh, that was just such a beautiful thing. And here I am, this is Dearly's Ramble, and I'm just going on and on and on. But yeah, so I'm not surprised. I guess my point of this is I'm not surprised to hear Dearly say that she didn't really have any fears about coming here, because they don't worry like we do about every little thing, you know.
Life is good.
Well, then life's good everywhere if we just stop worrying and look at it. You know, I talked yesterday about worrying.
Sometimes I love Kevin if he worries.
Well, and that's kind of my tendency. Is I was programmed as an American to worry about everything. You better have insurance for this. You better have insurance for that. You better not let this person do this because they will sue you unless you have insurance. That's how we're like inundated, totally. You know, but in my morning ramble yesterday, it was about stop worrying, start living. That was the theme. Stop looking down and seeing the mud. Look up and see the stars. I mean, whatever. Okay, this is Dearly's Ramble. How many more?
You took a lot.
I know. This is why she wouldn't go out with me. I had to harass her. It took more than a month. She kept saying no, and I'd ask her, and she'd say, because you talk too much.
Yeah.
So,
Too much.
Anyway, okay, let's come up with like 2 or 3 more questions. We're going on 20 minutes here. How about 2 more questions?
Okay.
You pick one and I'll pick one.
Okay. You first.
Okay. Well, this is kind of an easy softball, but what are you planting there? Onions?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to plant next?
Lettuce.
Lettuce. Okay. Grab your lettuce and let's figure out where we're going to plant our lettuce so I'll know where I have to hoe the next row.
I'm still very.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. You go ahead.
Ask me a question.
Okay. All right, here's a good question. You're making all these cooking videos. I know, and my belly knows, that since you've come to the U.S., you've learned how to cook some things you've never cooked before in your life. What are some things that you have learned to cook here that you really enjoy cooking?
Oh, gosh.
Pan? Kaunka pan?
Bread.
Yeah, pan means bread in the sign.
Bread.
Now, what kind of bread?
I don't bake in the Philippines.
Well,
but
you
when-
didn't, yeah, that you
But
didn't bake.
when I got here, I learned baking. Wow. I love pumpkin bread. I'm going
And-
to show you how to make my pumpkin bread.
She learned how to make pumpkin bread. Our friend Gary, who gave me my new hat, taught Dearly how to make delicious
Thank
pumpkin.
you, Gary.
Yeah, she didn't cook in the Philippines, and she didn't bake. You don't see a lot of that over there. Convection ovens, of course, are very
Because we
expensive.
don't have convention oven.
Convection ovens, yeah. And it's so hot,
Yeah.
and whereas a lot in the West we have kind of like a bread-based diet. In the Philippines, Southeast Asia, it's kind of like rice-based. So whereas we eat 1,000 different kinds of breads with various meals, they'll eat 1,000 different types of rices with various meals, and that doesn't involve baking. And then, okay, hon, so where are you going to plant your lettuce? Where is your lettuce?
That's here.
Asa,
And don't
asa, ikaw lettuce. Asa imu lettuce.
lettuce.
Asa
Lettuce.
imu lettuce. Where's your lettuce? Dito, there? Okay, so where are you going to plant that, honey?
I'm gonna plant my lettuce.
We're going to have to go over into the next garden,
Yep.
or the next side here. We still have some weeding to do over here,
I
not
think I'm
much.
gonna plant over there.
You want to plant it back there?
Yep.
You want to plant it in your... Well, I got to row that for you, huh? Okay, well, here, hold on. Let's do the last question.
Okay.
Okay, here's a good one. This is going to make you have to think a little bit. Here's Dearly's last question for Dearly's morning ramble, and then I'm going to take the hoe from her and prepare her lettuce bed wherever she wants that.
Okay.
All right, what are some of your goals? Now that you're here in the U.S., we've got the homestead. We're together because I don't have that terrible job anymore. What would you say some of your goals or some of the things you want to do going forward are here in the U.S.?
Oh my, that's a hard question. My goal?
Yeah, I mean, there's things you want to do. Are there places you want to go? What are some things
I'll
you want?
just travel around the United States of America. I want to travel here. My goal is to go all the 50 states in the United States of America. Because when I was a kid, when I watch movie, I'm like super amazed. Wow. So now I'm here. I'm gonna make it sure I'm gonna go in all 50 states in the United States of America.
If you could go to any of those 50 states first tomorrow, if we just could pack the car, jump on a plane and go, where would you go first?
I want to see the founder fathers. The
Mount Rushmore?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Those aren't the founding fathers.
Oh, who
a couple
are
of them
they?
are. Well, you see, you got some former presidents.
Who are they?
Honey, you got George Washington, you got Thomas Jefferson, you got Abraham Lincoln, and you got Teddy Roosevelt. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. And I've actually been to Mount Rushmore, and I wrote about being there in my book, Almost Across America. I'm not promoting that book. I'm just saying I've been there. I wrote about it, so I hope I'm right, having seen it with my own eyes. But I believe it's T.R., Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and Abraham Lincoln. So,
Yeah, I want to go there first.
oh, that's an interesting story behind that. The Bjorklund, I think is how you pronounce the artist's last name, who, he's from the South, actually, Georgia, went out there to create that. People told him he was nuts for years, told him he was crazy. The way you think is insane. This will never happen. You can't do this. And, they asked him about that when he was trying to create Mount Rushmore. Oh, well, everybody's saying this, everybody's saying that. I mean, they were modern day trolls. Now, honey, just make sure you don't pull up our pumpkins.
Yeah.
Trolls for his time, and he said, these people are mere horseflies. Their opinions mean nothing to me. Then, of course, he went on and he did it. Okay, so what you're saying is, honey, we need to plan you a trip out to Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
in South Dakota.
Yeah, I want to go there. And number 2,
Uh-huh.
I want to go to Wyoming.
Wyoming?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's close.
Number 3, I want to go to Alaska.
Ooh.
Yeah, I want to go to Alaska.
Okay, we're going to go up there when it's summer up there. I don't know if I want to go up there during an Alaskan winter.
No, we're going to go there summer, so it's not that very, very extra cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And number 4, I want to see New York City. Because I
Okay.
heard so many people, New York is so pretty. So I just want to see out of curiosity, you know.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I guess that's it, huh? You want to tell everybody goodbye?
And I hope you enjoy my morning rumble / with Kevin. And thank you for watching. See you next time.
Guys, at this point, I always give you a parting shot of the homestead. Keep waving and smiling, honey. Guys, again, at this point, I always give you a parting shot of the beautiful homestead, and you know it's very beautiful, but to me, this is more beautiful.
Aww.
So here's your parting shot for today.
Aww.
It's true, honey. You know it. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. We're going to get some more seeds in the ground, and we'll see you next time with more.
Thank you for watching.